Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Without further ado, let's get into our busted pack one, pick one. Play boosters are a heck of a drug. We have 3 uncommons, 2 of which are incredible cards, Shoot the Sheriff and Sharpshooter. Actually, Shoot the Sheriff, there are plenty of Outlaws in the format, so mainly just Sharpshooter for a good uncommon, but we've also got a mythic and 2 rares. I think I'm going to go with the Outcaster Trailblazer here. 3 mana, 4/2, gives you a mana of any color, and every time you play another creature with power 4 or greater, you get to draw a card. It's just a really, really sick card. You can plot it as well to get more value out of the mana that it gives you. Electro Dominance is really good as well, a big X mana burn spell, and it lets you cast something from your hand alongside casting all this burn. And then Collector's Cage is cool too. You hide something away and then start putting a bunch of counters on the board, so multiple powerful, cool rares, but I am going to roll with Outcaster Trailblazer out of all of those. For pick number 2, again, multiple rares here. We have Grand Abolisher, making it so your opponent can't cast spells, activate abilities, or anything like that during your turn. This is fine, pretty hard to cast though at double white. Fibblethip's really good in blue, double blue and 1, but you can start plotting cards from the top of your library, so pretty big card draw engine there. However, I really like Honest Rutstein. It is an uncommon instead of a rare, but this is just immediately great value as soon as it enters the battlefield, and if it sticks around, it's still doing a lot of work for you, making your future spells cost 1 less to cast. I think Green-Black Graveyard Recursion is also one of the strongest archetypes in the format, and Rutstein is perfect in that deck. There's a common way to pick up a creature from your grave, put it back in your hand, and get a 1/1 out, and with enough copies of that, Honest Rutstein goes crazy, because you trade Rutstein off, then you pick Rutstein up from your grave, replay it, pick another creature up from your grave. You can just combo with so much Graveyard Recursion and grind out some really long games with Rutstein. So I am perfectly happy to take a second Rutstein and lock in here. Green-black graveyard stuff. We just want to play a bunch of beefy, undercosted green creatures, a bunch of black removal spells, and black Graveyard Recursion to keep those creatures around. This is going to be a sweet start to this draft. Pick number 4, there is the Mourner's Surprise, which is an excellent combo with old Rutstein. Trade Rutstein off, pick him up again, recast and pick up another creature from grave. Absurd Graveyard Recursion with that. Fake Your Own Death is decent as well, but you do have to cast it at the exact right time. Got to use it during combat to get that huge Rutstein trigger. And Tumbleweed Rising is solid in a green deck. There's a lot of high-power green creatures that could be a really cheap creature there, but with 2 copies of Honest Rutstein already, I'm going for the Mourner's Surprise. When you have a bunch of Graveyard Recursion, like double Rutstein and Mourner's Surprise, you don't really need to protect your creatures with hexproof or anything that badly, so I'm going to go for Patient Naturalist over the Snakeskin Veil, but it is very worth mentioning that white does seem pretty open here, considering the best cards here are both white uncommons. 4 mana for a 4/2 and a Mercenary, or a 2 mana 2/1 that draws you a card when you play it, either a Plains or a Mount. The Mount decks in green-white being particularly busted. Pick 6 now, we could splash in a Jolene perfectly fine. I don't think Boneyard Desecrator is that exciting, so I'd rather potentially splash Jolene. Pick 7, Ankle Biter looks fine for this kind of deck. When we have so much Graveyard Recursion, just trading anything off 1 for 1 is nice, so this Death Toucher can do that with anything. Also try to splash this in, but I have plenty of Graveyard Recursion without splashing for it, so Ankle Biter it is. Pick 8. I do not like Reach for the Sky very much, but I also don't like anything else in this pack, so just grab a Tornado. At least I can cycle that one. And it has a funny name. Pick 9. I love me some beefy creatures to go with my rare. The Trailblazer works really great with this, but also Graveyard Recursion on beefy creatures like this is nice as well. Pick 10. I'll take another Patient Naturalist. That fills the grave a little bit and makes sure we keep hitting our land drops to get to our big 5-drop creatures and stuff. I'm just rare drafting nonsense. We got the Tumbleweed Rising all the way back around. That's a decent sign for just green beef. Just high power, high mana value green creatures, the deck. Black hasn't looked super open, but with double Rutstein Mourner Surprise already, we're kind of glued to the color. I guess maybe if red's open enough, we go red splashed in the black, but I haven't seen anything great in red running around the draft pot either. White seems to be the most open color to pivot to if we want. But I mean, you open up 2 green-black uncommons and you kind of just stick to what you're doing, right? I feel like Back for More is probably slightly better. If we have enough beefy creatures, this is an instant speed blowout. Pick up our beefiest creature, have it kill one of our opponent's creatures, and maybe even block something. But worst case scenario, you just do this in the end step, so you get rid of your Summoning Sickness and swing in with it the next turn. I do like that Badlands Revival is a 2-for-1 piece of graveyard recursion. You get to pick up 2 cards from your grave, 1 to the battlefield, 1 to your hand. But I think I like Back for More slightly better. I mean, they're both insane. They're both really, really kind of perfect here. But I'm going to take the Back for More. Pick number 2, some cheap removal with Throw from the Saddle. And we don't have a lot of removal right now, so I might take that. We actually don't have any outside of this Back for More that's pretty narrow, or the Tornado that's pretty narrow. I do like this Desperate Bloodseeker a lot for this kind of deck, because we can mill ourselves and make sure that we're getting some graveyard recursion value. But we got to make sure we have some removal. This is an insanely bomb-heavy format. From my recent experiences in draft, we've been playing exclusively decks that have had a bunch of rares, and playing against decks that have exclusively had a bunch of rares lately. Pick 3, another Mourner's Surprise or a first Fake Your Own Death seems solid. Go for another Mourner's Surprise. Pick 4, grab some more efficient removal with Consuming Ashes, although Smuggler's Surprise is pretty fun. Has been kind of inconsistent and inefficient though, so I did try it out one time and it was okay. But I'm going to go for the removal, grab the Consuming Ashes. Although Drover Grizzly, when we've got a card that really cares, 2 cards that care about Power 4 Greater, Jolene and our Trailblazers, definitely on the list. I think it's a bit behind Consuming Ashes though. Actually, we could have taken that Desert as well to help splash in the Jolene, but our deck's probably going to be strong enough we don't need to splash in the end. I'm very happy to take Cactarantula. At 6 mana, this card's okay. If you have some deserts and you can cast this for only 5, then the card is excellent. So now deserts go pretty high up. Pick 6, there's a desert. It's a white one, which we don't really care about. I like getting lifelink on stuff every turn, but we're not committing that many crimes with this deck. Dance of the Tumbleweeds is fixing, or a big creature later. Could help with Jolene. Kind of inefficient fixing, but make sure that you aren't just top decking a land in the late game, you're top decking a big old elemental. I think all 3 of these look decent. I grab the Apothecary though. Pick 7. Rambling Possum is much better than it looks, but Desert's Dew is good cheap removal. I've got Consuming Ashes and Back for More. Throw from the Saddle right now. I think I'm doing good enough on removal to take the Rambling Possum. This is really easy to saddle it up and just have a 4/5 beat stick, and if you are saddling with anything with a good Enter the Battlefield effect, you get to recast it and redo it. I think Possum is excellent. As is Giant Beaver. 4 mana, 4/4 Vigilance, again, already good, and it's just extra value to saddle it up. Pick 9, I'll take the random black spell, since that's on color. Pick 10, now I'll go ahead and take a tap land. Just put a tapped swamp in our deck because it's a desert for Cactarantula. We want some 2 mana creatures, ideally, at this point. Is it tapped forest for Cactarantula, or Fake Your Own Death? I've got the double Mourner Surprise, though, which is kind of like the same thing. I don't know, it does seem like a good Fake Your Own Death deck. Nothing here, I'm just going to rare draft Pariah. Because Pariah is a funny card. There we go, there's a 2-drop. Not a super good one, but now we can cast a creature on turn 2, which is important to do. Pack 3, pick number 1. We have a nice little 2-for-1 card draw spell, but we have plenty of good 2-for-1 graveyard recursion spells. Or we have a really nice 2-for-1 removal spell. And I think removal is what I'm more light on, so I'll take the accident. Mana Ramp's good too. And this is another 2-drop, which we don't have a lot of. I wouldn't hate the bandit, but I'm going to take the removal. What is this? Target opponent sacks half their creatures, discards half their hand, loses half their life if you pay like 1,000,000 mana. It's probably too expensive for what it's doing, but it's cool. I don't know, it's like always going to kill 2 creatures. You don't have to sack anything, so you spend like 4 mana and kill 2 of your opponent's creatures if they have 3 or more. This is probably pretty good. Bonnie, one of the most busted rares in the format, but she costs double blue. I don't have blue at all. I don't have fixing. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Bonnie is such a dumb card. I'm not taking a Tumbleweed Rising over Bonnie, but unless we're really lucky, I don't think I'm going to find the fixing to throw her in here out of 1 pack of cards. Well, there's a start. I have to pass up on a Vraska for it, but it's another desert in our deck for the Cactarantula as well. And I don't think Vraska's that insane. 3 mana, 3/3 Death Touch. When your opponent's creatures die, you get to put them on your board as treasures, so it only matters if they have great abilities on their creatures. And Vraska gets to stick around. Yeah, I'm going to take Mirage Mesa towards Bonnie. I'm going to take a Gold Pan towards Bonnie over a 3rd Mourner Surprise. Yeah. So now we have Gold Pan, Outcaster Trailblazer, and Mirage Mesa for random blue sources. Here's another giant beaver. Double blue is still so hard. If we're lucky and there are no lands off of the Naturalist Mill, that's another way to get a treasure. Another gold pan for another treasure. Or Drover Grizzly for another 4-power creature. Or Gigapede at the top end. I feel like this is probably not worth it, but I'm just going to go all in on throwing Bonnie in here. We're probably going to draw her and never have double blue, but we'll see. We'll see. If she resolves, she's not exactly beatable. 6/5 reach, and a gigantic creature, and you draw a card every turn, every time you attack. There's Map the Frontier that can single-handedly get double blue for Bonnie. If we run Mirage Mesa and 1 island in this deck. Alright. Now a Sterling Hound for Self-Mill. I've got so many 3-drop creatures, though, I don't think I'll have room for that. You could run Tomb Trawler. I'm not running a completely off-color desert. No Boros Desert into this deck. Another Ankle Biter looks fine. I'll just rare draft here. Voracious Vermin actually makes the cut. That was a nice pickup. All right, time to build the sketchiest double blue splash ever. 2 treasure tokens. A Map the Frontier that grabs double blue because it grabs Island Mesa. And a Trailblazer that gets a mana of any color. If Bonnie's in our opening hand, we plot this and wait to play it until we can play Bonnie. Yep, I'm going to do it. Probably wrong. I think our deck is plenty powerful without the Bonnie, but is cooler with the Bonnie. I've got a lot of 3-drops. I might have to cut the Apothecary to make room here. Ooh, you know what we could do with some self-mill in this deck? We could self-mill the Bonnie and then back for more her. If we can't afford to cast her. That could be a thing. Alright, we need to cut 6 cards. Cut these 2 first and foremost. Tumbleweed Rising can be a really cheap big creature, but it doesn't work super well with the graveyard recursion kind of stuff we have going on. And I have to drop something out of here. So we'll drop that. Maybe we'll rely on double ankle biter early and just cut the Raven too. 2 more cuts to go. Yeah, I like the Mourner Surprises better than the Fake Your Own Death because they're more consistent, but this does give us a treasure. Shoot. Does do that, doesn't it? I guess we're not that great at using the Possum, and again, I have a million 3-mana plays, so if anywhere on the curve there's somewhere to cut stuff, it would be at 3. Alright, Possum, get out of here. I guess Map the Frontier is literally only for casting Bonnie. That's kind of all that it does. So maybe treasure, 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 blue source, blue source. Treasure, basically. Maybe that's enough? I highly doubt it, but whatever. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to cut the Map the Frontier and have the sketchiest double blue splash of all time. We'll call it a deck here. Alright, here we have a look at the final deck list for today. We're another nice Golgari, grindy kind of deck with a lot of graveyard recursion with double Honest Rutstein, double Mourner Surprise, and a Fake Your Own Death, as well as just some beefy green creatures. Spinewoods Paladin, double Giant Beaver, Cactarantula, and Outcaster Trailblazer. So hopefully just bashing our opponent in with some giant green creatures, getting their threats out of the way with efficient removal, like Thrown from the Saddle, Consuming Ashes, Unfortunate Accident. Back for More even works as removal, as does Rush of Dread. So try to get really ahead on board and beat down with giant green creatures. And maybe if we're super lucky and we have a treasure token in one of our 2 blue lands, maybe we get to cast a Bonnie Paul off of one of the world's sketchiest splashes of all time. We'll see how it all pans out for us as we head into the gameplay. Here we are for game 1 with a pretty awkward opener. I still think the spells are powerful enough to keep, but this curve is real awkward. We don't want to play Honest Rutstein without stuff in grave. We can't play Rush of Dread or Unfortunate Accident without double black, and we won't play them till much later. We're going to have to play the Mesa as a black source instead of a blue, so that lowers the number of blue sources in our deck a little bit. We're not doing anything until turn 4. But we're on the draw? That's an upside? I don't know, I guess I probably should mulligan when I put it like that. Okay, this seems a little more consistent, so we'll keep this one. You can just gold pan ramp into the Beaver if I hit any land. Fake Your Own Death. It's not horrible with an ankle biter, and it's another treasure producer. Uh-oh. 6 mana spell is the top deck. I wish I just got rid of the Mourner's Surprise. At least our opponent isn't casting anything. Hey, it's land 3, let's go. Get in there, 2/2 ankle biter. Patient Naturalist is the play. Well, I got my gold pan treasure token, and I can get my Fake Your Own Death treasure token, so this would be the game to top deck Bonnie. We did draw into a Trailblazer, which is also very good. If I cast it now, it won't be summoning sick next turn, which is nice, but if I plot it, then I can help dodge sorcery speed removal, so I can guaranteed draw the card off of it next turn. And I am a greedy man, so I think I'm going to go for the guaranteed draw a card off of it next turn by plotting. And this way, if we don't top deck a land, we can also cast the Beaver without sacrificing our treasure, and there's value to be had in that as well, saving the treasure for Bonnie. Cactarantula, alright. Our little Death Toucher doing a great job just holding things back. Oh, Bonnie's going to be so castable. So castable. Okay, there's the skewer for the Trailblazer. I did just say Bonnie's going to be super castable, so I don't think I will need both of the treasures to do it. I can just keep one treasure off of the Fake Your Own Death. It's hopefully enough. Alright, Fake Your Own Death does its thing. No 4-power creatures to play here, so can't draw another Trailblazer card. A Naturalist and fill the grave for back for more. Yeah. Just play a second blue source naturally. Hypothesizzle. Well, there goes the Trailblazer again. Now I'll just have to Mourner Surprise it. Oh, no discard, so they don't want to use the removal. I am so dumb. I should have been attacking Giant Beaver for a while now. I forgot gold pans and equipment. That's so embarrassing. But it's also hilarious. Oh, I also should have saddled. I'm new to the format, it happens. We'll get better. No, this has been a really sloppy game now that I think of that. Could have hit with Giant Beaver last couple turns, and we could have gotten a +1/+1 counter this turn off of the saddle ability. At least saddle it up with, oh, I have to saddle 3? Okay, maybe not. I definitely want to hold the Death Toucher up for Cactarantula. I guess I could saddle it with Trailblazer. Not going to be blocking with Trailblazer. See, I did miss out on a +1/+1 counter. Visage Bandit on Cactarantula. That's annoying. But maybe then the Giant Beaver gets to trade off and we can Mourner Surprise it back, draw another card off of Trailblazer. This isn't the end of the world. Hey, Spinewoods Paladin, that's more card draw off of Trailblazer. Okay, let's actually saddle this time. I'm not going to block with Trailblazer. So let's get the +1/+1 counter. Alright, cool. Well, I'm going to kill a Cactarantula. And then, surprise! Guess who's back? It's the Beaver. And I'm going to draw a card. And I can get that equipment set up for next turn. To attack again. I don't know what's in their hand. It's a lot of cards. Removal. Ooh, double removal with Betrayal at the Vault? That is pretty nasty. Well, I've got double Graveyard Recursion, so... let's Mourner Surprise the Trailblazer to cast the Paladin and draw another card. I guess if they have the counter, unless I pay 2, that's going to be a little sad. Or instant speed removal also wouldn't be great for me. Alright, it all works out. We take those. Primal Command. Gain 7 and find their best bomb creature? That could be an issue. If it's too big to die to a back for more, that's a problem. Oh. Loan Shark is their best creature they have left? Never mind. I mean, it's good value for our opponent. It's not great for us, but that could have been a Bonnie Paul or something if they had a really, really loaded deck. Guess who's back for more? Giant Beaver. I'm gonna draw a card and kill your Loan Shark. Or not. Snakeskin Veil? They only have 1 green mana up. It's the only thing it could be, I think. No! I don't have double black for this, so I can't destroy a creature. I also don't have 4 mana. Dang. Well, not horrendous. I still have attacks in. All my 5 power creatures. Which is Paladin and Naturalist. Yeah, I've got the double blue. I can crack the treasure here. And then I can Mercenary to have 2 5-power attackers. I could send in with Trailblazer as well, but I'm feeling very greedy about the fact that it draws cards. So I don't want to. Ooh. The 2-for-1 explosive derailment. Kill our biggest creature and blow up a gold pan. And another Loan Shark for value. Alright. Grinding out some great value over there. Well. Get in there, Naturalist. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O time. 2-for-1. Ka-ching. The Mercenary has earned us some cash money on that one. A little bit of flood now from our opponent. I actually don't know how many big enough creatures I have at this point, so I'm going to go full speed ahead. Give them less opportunities to top deck. Ooh, I milled one of my Rutsteins. I still have one more though, right? I never drew a Rutstein this game. No, I didn't. Yeah, so I've got one more Rutstein and a Bonnie Paul in the next 12 cards. I have 2 insanely good draws coming up. There's a Doc Orlock. And a land. The Giant Beaver, not bad at all. That was an incorrect play by me, I think. Well, no, that is my best attack, right? Because it forces a block on one of the 3-power creatures. I was just thinking maybe moving the gold pan over would be better. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We just grind out a really nice long game with all the graveyard recursion value and stuff. And yeah. I don't know. Weird game. Felt like we were ahead pretty much the whole time, but technically they drew just as many cards as us. We have 11 left. They have 12. They got a lot of Loan Shark card drawn stuff. Some derailment 2-for-1s. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just had slightly beefier stuff overall because we both had a lot of 2-for-1 value. But we'll take it. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. Here we are now for game 2. Ankle biter into double gold pan. That is Bonnie Paul mana. Maybe she'll be in the top 28 instead of the bottom 12 this time. We'll see. It's a naturalist. That could be more Bonnie Paul mana. We could also mill the Bonnie Paul with that, but we have like 4 pieces of graveyard recursion. 2 Rutsteins, 2 Mourner's things, and a back for more. We have 5 pieces of graveyard recursion. And now there's 1 in hand, so... yeah, we can't just lose our Bonnie. Alright. Use removal on my Death Toucher. Fair enough. What do you got, Naturalist? You got a land. Not bad. I am sad about milling the back for more. How much mana is it to make them discard half their hand? 5? If I crack the treasure, I can make them discard 3 cards. Tempting. That's really tempting. Just get a 3-for-1 off of it. Yeah, if I Rutstein right now, I'm only picking up a 1/1 anyway. Let's see. They've got the blue counterspell. This is a slight bummer. This is pretty fantastic otherwise. Land, land, land. Oh. Well. Alright, that was all of their lands. There we go. So that's still value for us then. Let's Naturalist, and maybe it'll find something for Rutstein to pick up. Yep, found a beaver. So we'll pick that up with Rutstein in the future. I don't want to cash the treasure to equip a gold pan right now. That I have no more blue sources if I do top deck a Bonnie at some point. So, because I want to leave the treasure around, I'm just going to equip the current pan rather than playing a new one and not equipping anything right now. Could be wrong, but I just don't think I'm going to cast the next pan until I'm equipping. So like next turn we get to go Rutstein plus Beaver, and then the turn after that, then we'll throw another pan on the board. Explosive derailment? Sure. Alright. That explains the year-long wait. They were considering holding off so they could blow up our gold pan and a creature. A bunch of 1-for-1 removal brings me ahead with our deck. I am glad I didn't crack this treasure yet. Now we need to find 1 more blue source to cast the Bonnie, because we have 1 treasure available. Five mana, there's a Pulverizer for a 4/5 reach. Ooh, Mourner Surprise is not bad at all. We can make a 6/6 attacker. I mean, it's already big enough as a 5/5 attacker, but I'm just gonna saddle Rutstein up onto the Beaver anyway, so might as well throw all of the power onto this Beaver. Could surprise back a Naturalist. I think I'd rather just hold off. In case they kill the Giant Beaver. And they are not going to kill the Giant Beaver. That is going to be 2-0 heading into game 3. That was game 1. We had perfect mana for Bonnie, never drew the Bonnie. Game 2, we drew the Bonnie. We were really close to casting her, but we didn't need her anyway. Come on. Let me cast Bonnie at some point. 1 game. I won't be satisfied unless I cast Bonnie. I'm greedy. It's Wario Day today. monkey's paw curls and I'm about to lose a game where I cast a Bonnie. Alright, we keep this. It is quite slow. But Giant Beaver is quite big. And Giant Beaver back for more is a really, really good top end. Servant of the Stinger, turn 2 from our opponent. Hey, perfect draw is perfect. Now we get to start the game on turn 3. Patient Naturalist, grabbing another land. I will not block the Stinger. Is this a Scorpion? No, it's a human Warlock. And there's their own Patient Naturalist, the mirror match. Oh god. They have a Harvester of Misery from the Big Score Mythics. Yeah. And they're green-black, so they can definitely bring that back. Wipe the whole board with -2/-2. Well, -2/-2 is not big enough to kill any of our creatures right now, so probably fine. Boneyard Desecrator, get a 3/4 menace. Let's... I want to attack with Giant Beaver, so we want to get the Death Toucher out of the way for sure. If I get the Death Toucher out of the way with Throw from the Saddle, I get a +1/+1 counter permanently on the Beavers. This is a 5/5 permanently. But then I still don't get to attack in this turn because they could double block it and kill it. So is it better to Consuming Ashes and hold off on Throw from the Saddle until a turn when I want to cast that and something else? Probably. What does this do? 2 mana, sack another creature, get counters on this. Basically nothing. Yeah, let's tap out for the Consuming Ashes while I have the extra mana, and let's get the Surveil off of it. I think either of these is very good. We'll mill them both. Come on in, Desecrator. Welcome. Blood Hustler. Make me discard 2. Sure, that's pretty annoying, but still keep our best cards. And there's one blue source. If we find Bonnie. I think we just kill this because it gets bigger over time. They can keep the Desecrator. Oh, it's saddle 3? Oh, I can't even saddle it with Naturalist. That's awkward. I should have buffed the Naturalist then. Yeah, I didn't realize I wasn't going to be able to saddle here. I could have buffed the Naturalist so that the Naturalist is big enough to saddle, and by saddling it one time, it gets the +1/+1 counter to saddle it for the rest of the game. Well, we're pretty far behind. That Heartless Pillage played really well. The 2-for-1 discard spell here. I mean, we're fine on board, but they're 2 cards ahead of us in hand. They are 1 Heartless Pillage ahead of us. Uh-oh. Here comes the Graveyard Recursion on the big Mythic thing. It is still a 5/4 menace, even if the Enter the Battlefield effect isn't going to do anything for them. Oh, Lively Dirge. They can search their deck for any creature put into the graveyard and reanimate that instead. As long as it's mana value 4 or less. So they could get another 2-drop and pick up the Hustler and that 2-drop. Yeah, Lively Dirge looks pretty nasty here. Pick up Blood Hustler, Ankle Biter. Well, that's Bonnie Paul mana. Oh, that it keeps coming up. I can spend 6 mana to back for more an Ankle Biter. Just to clear out their Ankle Biter. Feels better to just do it post-combat after the beaver dies. Just get the beaver back. Kill the Ankle Biter and the Blood Hustler. The Desecrator's an issue too, but that life drain from the Hustler is not going to be raceable either. Especially considering it gets a counter every turn while they do it. Come on, Bonnie. 2 cards in hand, we get destroyed by a combat trick. If they don't have a combat trick, we just balance out the game here. It's a 2-3 versus a 2-3 and whatever's in their hand. I'm gonna take it. More graveyard recursion. Alright, well, RIP. Alright, well, mirror match where our opponent had more 2-for-1 value plays. Pretty simple stuff overall. Oh, Bonnie, what am I going to do with you? We're going to sit there with the perfect double blue. You're going to hide in the deck. We're going to get an opening hand with black. You're going to be right there, ready to go. I'm going to get you out of here. That's what I'm going to do with you. All right, 6 card hand it is. We go Naturalist into Rutstein, picking up something the Naturalist milled, and then... yeah, this is a solid start. Oh, no. Our opponent starts their curve with Miriam Herd Whisperer, which is completely broken. I think it's too good. I've been saying that about a lot of cards in this format. This format is just so absurdly pushed. It's really dumb. But Miriam is incredibly stupid. She would be a fair card if she only worked on vehicles because you have to tap some of your creatures to crew them. But she works on mounts. So you just get to curve out with like your 3 mana 3/3, and every time your 3 mana 3/3 attacks, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Every time your 4 mana 4/4 beaver attacks, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Turn 2 Miriam on the play, if you don't have removal, is probably going to be one of the most consistent ways to die in this format because she's only an uncommon. I'm sure there's going to be faster ways to die, but be a lot of dying to turn 2 Miriams on the play, and this looks like one of those games. They've got the mount. Send in a 4/3 and a 4/4. The possum is permanently a 4/4, and I can't block. We're literally at 8 life already. GG. If I plot Paladin, I'm dead on board to them tapping Naturalist. I didn't mill any creatures off of Naturalist, so if I play Rutstein, I'm not recurring anything with it. I'm just playing it as a chump blocker. So at this point, because I'm not going to recur anything either way, I would rather play a 1/1 chump blocker than a Rutstein chump blocker. But this game is over. Again, if we played Rutstein, we're not even threatening to kill Miriam because they just tap Rutstein and we have to chump with Naturalist, so. This is why we just play the 1/1. I guess if we played Rutstein, we would be more capable of playing 2 blockers next turn. Because then I could do the 2-mana Mourner Surprise and recast a 3-mana Naturalist, maybe. So now I play a 5/4 and I gain 3, but they tap the 5/4 and I chump with Naturalist. Oh. Opponent decided lethal is for fools. And gave me a bonus turn? Well, I'm super dead next turn anyway. Alright, here we are for game number 5. We've got that Trailblazer again. It's one of the strongest cards in the deck, so I am happy to see him back. Playing against the blue-black deck. Just poke them with the ankle biter. Get in there, sneaky snake. Shoot them with our desert. It's crime time. Blue, green, black from our opponent. They are a removal-heavy trio of colors here. So I don't love the idea of just dropping Trailblazer and having it get countered or killed. So I'm just going to roll out with some Naturalists. Trailblazer's better if they have no interaction. But Naturalist is better against counters or removal or anything like that, and there's the removal. So if we played Trailblazer, that would have been a significantly worse turn because they just deserts do the 4/2 instead of the snake. So back for more. Now that we have that, it wouldn't be terrible to drop Trailblazer, but perfectly happy to play another Naturalist here. Get that second black for Consuming Ashes ready. Treasure time. I can back for more an Honest Rutstein because it's hilarious. There's a Silver Deputy. Oh my god, it's actually going to be valuable to back for more an Honest Rutstein? Never imagined that. I don't know if it's good enough to do it right now against this open mana, when we already have good attacks on board, and I can just hold on to this treasure token and everything. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to crack the treasure towards the back for more against open mana from our opponent. I'm just going to get our already solid attacks in, and then could rush, make them discard 2. Discard 2 is not that great. I'm going to hold off on the rush for a bigger swing. Let's get Trailblazer down. All right, that's to be expected. Cactarantula. There's a gold pan. We've got an ankle biter in our grave, don't we? We do. But if I'm just going to back for more an ankle biter to fight a Cactarantula, I might as well just consume it. Yeah. Alright. Give them the card draw. And I only need 1 treasure to cast a top deck Bonnie, so I can crack 1 to get 1 more damage in. Rope Master, that's pretty nasty. Oh, they choose not to bounce, though, because they don't want us to draw more cards. Oh! They've got 1 and a blue up, but then I just back for more Bonnie anyway. She triggers even if I back for more her from the grave, so here we go. Oh, they don't have the counter. Let's go. Well, then I'll trump attack to draw a card. Get 1 damage in. Or 2 damage in. It's not an instant, is it? Yeah, the rush is a sorcery, so I might as well slap a gold pan somewhere. Oh, Bo! No! Tragic. Failed fording. Does that mean Bo drowned? Your livestock drowned while we were fording the river? That's actually so tragic. Ooh, surveil 3, draw 3, right? Yeah, that's pretty big. You know what else is pretty big? Killing 2 of their creatures and whatever else this does. Oh, there's no point making them discard. They have no cards in hand. Put them to 3 and kill half their creatures means they're dead, right? Woo! They have to sack 2 creatures and go to 3 life, and then they die on board. Dread. Cool. Well, that was kind of the opposite of our last loss. This time we played a bunch of stupid rares, and our opponent couldn't do much. We got to do the Bonnie. We officially did Bonnie one time, but we also did Trailblazer and Russia Dread. But that was mostly Bonnie being super absurd. And we'll take it. We are 3-2. Made it up after a couple quick losses. We are at least going to be at a 50-50 run this time around as we head into Game 6. Here we are on the play for Game 6. We are 3-2 right now, and we're looking for green mana. Don't find it yet, but we get a treasure token at worst, and hopefully the naturalist off of the treasure finds a land, worst case scenario. It was a big part of the keep was gold pan into naturalist being guaranteed no matter what. Alright, naturalist. If we mill 3 and don't find a land, this is gonna be bad. How on earth just mill 2 of our best cards? No, 3. All 3 of these are the best cards left in the deck. And 0 lands. Well, if we top deck a land literally every turn from now on, we could still win, because we've got to back for more for that Bonnie. But if not, that was a massive miss on the naturalist. Mirror match again, green-black with the gold pan. Welcome. Oh boy. It'd take another 3 to have more treasures towards the back for more, because I think that will be game winning if we can get there. It's a Raven of Fell Omens. And a Buzzard. Bunch of flying damage now. This is insane. This is how it's gonna end. Might be how it's gonna end. Because now I'm pretty locked into cashing in treasure tokens and not getting the back for more. I mean, I guess if I just gold pan up the naturalist and they don't have removal, I can block on the ground. I've got no way to block in the sky even if I do cash in the treasures. Oh. Well. It's a crime to drain me with the Raven. That's probably not good, but definitely not going to not block. Okay, fake your own death is not that bad. It's not good, but it's not that bad. Officially made it to one land away from back for more. But I am in quite a predicament if I don't cash in a treasure for Consuming Ashes or 2 treasures for Cactarantula. 4 damage in the sky minimum here. Oh, I don't have a natural green source. I can't even... Oh my god, I can't even play a blocker without cracking a treasure. Unless I Mourner Surprise? Let's chump block a treasure dredger, take 4, and then back for more, a reach creature, kill both of their flyers? I think it's too slow, though. But I think it's all we've got. 5? If we just draw an insanely low land count, then it doesn't matter. 3 lands in the top 16. Yeah, I think since they cast literally nothing there, if we did hit the land for the back for more, that would be exactly enough to not die. We would do this on their next attack. We would get a 6/5 reach and I guess just a 3/3, a 4/4 alongside it. We have the 6/5 reach block this and shoot this, and the creature on the ground block the dredger. We would take 0 on the next swing if we just top decked a land this turn. But we didn't, so we don't really have any option but to crack a treasure and not be able to back for more off of a land draw. And this is like, we have to crack a treasure here and then still die to basically any spell being in their hand. Yeah. Well, this was really disappointing. This was just... Like, we kept a 2-lander, but, like, mill 3, try to hit a land, hit nothing off that, and then still miss, like, 3 land drops in a row is wild. This is just really bad luck on this one. Oh, they didn't even have, like, a Snakeskin Veil? Or a counterspell. They had Corrupted Conviction to sack and draw to. Back for more would have absolutely got there. That's so disappointing. All right. That's magic. Variants do be a thing. 3 and 3. I think that's the lower end of what this deck can do. I do think the Bonnie Paul Splash was a little bold, but I don't think we ever lost because of the Bonnie Splash. I mean, that game not having a green source definitely cost us. If we had a green source instead of one of those black sources, I think we would have had enough time just by playing more chumpers like the Varmint and the Trailblazer and stuff after we had to Mourner Surprise the Trailblazer back. And if we had a green land, we could have done one of those without spending a treasure so that we could still be ready for the back for more swing to get us back in the game. So I guess the Bonnie Paul Splash did cost our mana base a little bit, but we never had like 6 mana and her stuck in hand being uncastable. Anytime we had enough lands, we could cast Bonnie, so that was nice. Yeah, 3/3. think a little low for this deck, but it is running some filler to help with the Bonnie Splash, the double gold pan. So that is where the deck gets a bit weaker, but also where it gets a bit stronger, because if we didn't have a massively explosive game plan like being able to back for more Bonnie in that last game, then we would have had no shot, period, instead of being really disappointed because we had a tiny shot. Yeah, not too much to say here. It's a little bit too low on the early game stuff. We could have a little bit better early game plays to buy more time, but I don't think that was ever too devastating either. I think a lot of our losses were pretty long games, except that last game, but again, that was less because we didn't have enough early plays. We had 2 and 3 mana cards we could have cast there. They were just green, so we would have had to crack a treasure, so we didn't, so yeah. I don't know. Slightly disappointing run here for a pretty fun deck. 3 and 3 it is. The averagest of average, the mediocrest of mediocre. It's a 50-50 run this time around. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.